But the thing that I find so intolerable
Yeah.
about the left is also exemplified in how they attack Trump for things that he's not guilty of. Clearly, I mean, there's no one who despises this man more than me. I'm not, I mean, I don't know how you compare these things, but like, I'll go to the mat with anyone.
Yeah, the pinata you brought here to destroy later.
I mean, I can talk endlessly about what's wrong with this guy.
Yeah.
Right? But when people on the left, or not, I mean, I don't mean just fringe left. I mean the New York Times,
Yeah.
go after him for things that seem clearly just calculated to mislead. I mean, they're just disingenuous. It's just, I mean, I get as annoyed by that as by anything. So
Yeah.
I mean, within my own mind, I feel pretty balanced in how careful I am. You know, so like, I mean, to take the like the MS-13 thing. I mean, have you seen what's going on with MS-13 on Long Island? Did you watch that Frontline?
I didn't see the Frontline,
Okay,
but I know what's
like,
going on there.
I mean, so
yeah,
the fact that anyone is minimizing the significance of how horrible this is, right? It's just, and playing politics with that and catching him saying, like, you know, these people are animals, right? And then using that to mean that he thinks everyone coming from Latin America is an animal. It's, I mean, it's just so toxic.
So what, I view that as different somehow than, all right, forget the BuzzFeeds and Salons and that whole set that we already talked about. But this thing now with the New York Times and CNN, where they're doing this now, that to me is something that is truly systemically, that's different and that's extremely dangerous. Like, what could possibly be happening there at a sort of systemic level that makes sense that they can get away with this stuff? Well, they know 5 minutes later it's going to be exposed.
Well, I don't know if they know that, but I think the fact that you see it that way is a measure of how important a reality-based conversation is and how different the expectation is of something like the New York Times versus something like Breitbart.
Right.
Right. So like, it matters that the New York Times gets it wrong. It matters that the New York Times is at all clickbaity, right? And so, and then when you compare that to something like Breitbart, you know, it's just, there's a fundamentally different expectation. And so,
well, that's why people give me shit all the time. Oh, I'm always attacking New York Times and CNN. It's like, those are the ones I think matter.
Yeah, no, it does matter.
You want me to attack the same
agree.
ones everyone else is attacking, or that I don't expect to do real journalism? They're just .coms. You know, that's all they are.
Yeah, but I mean, it matters across the board because people are confused by this. People think that Vox is like the New York Times, right? And it's confusing because you can find articles on Vox that are fantastic, right? You can, I mean, it's just there's a real range of quality you get everywhere now, and there shouldn't be a wide range in something like the New York Times, right? And we're seeing this, you know, like as any of us get close to being part of the news story, right? Whether it's directly on you or it's told about one of your friends. It's like New York Times. I mean, someone I know at the New York Times, Bret Stephens, who moved from the Wall Street Journal and now he's an opinion writer at the New York Times.
I know the piece.
He just went after Elon for, I mean, it was just a pure clickbait hit piece that was just, you know, Breitbart level trash, right? I mean, it was wrong in every respect, apart from the fact that it summarized, you know, some of the economic skepticism about Tesla. But I mean, he's, you know,
right, but that even wasn't really the issue.
No, I mean, he basically said that Elon is Silicon Valley's Trump, right, and a con man, and it's just no, he's got this no there. He's lying about everything. I mean, if ever there were a person you can't say is without substance and is just a pure con man, it's Elon. I mean, like this, like he could fail to do half the things he's promising to do, and he does more than the next most productive 100 people. I mean, it's just it's insane. So, and it was hilarious because this all was timed with my getting off Twitter, as I said, by like 95%. But I was on long enough to notice this and just take a shot at Bret in response because it was intolerable to me. But the New York Times,
you did it in a somewhat respectful way, right? Like you didn't do it the way that most people do it, which was just like a blurted out assault.
No. Well, I let him know because I'm a fan of Brett's. I mean, I publicly celebrated also on Twitter his move to the New York Times. Like I congratulated him, and I think he's a very smart guy. For whatever dogmatic reason, he was sort of destined to get this wrong. But he's so totally wrong that it is a real consequence. The New York Times can't afford to be this wrong about, in this case, the prospects of a company like Tesla and clean tech, and I mean, it was all of this connects obviously with climate change and huge important issues. So.
Yeah, and I think that one I don't know Brett personally, but it seems like what this was all about was because Elon was attacking the media because he was unhappy about the way some stuff was reported.
Yeah.
And then Brett was obviously being defensive over the media.
Yeah.
But I was very pleased watching Elon's thread on this because I was like, yeah, we need more people to be attacking this. Otherwise the Times won't turn around.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know whether he's doing himself harm by engaging in that way. I mean, this could be just something that happens to somebody once they cross, the 20 million mark on Twitter. It's like you just get you become like Trump in that respect, and you just decide to use Twitter that way. But I mean, on one level, it's refreshing that you have a CEO who's kind of this transparent with what he's thinking and just engaging on all of these issues with people in his ad mentions. But I don't know. I think it's again. I think social media. The net result for virtually everyone is you're lucky to get back to zero. Yeah. Like that's if you're going to take an inventory of what was gained in the end by all of the energy you've spent fighting with people or correcting the record, it's you're lucky to have gotten
right. You can check all the times you've owned someone versus if all the times they owned you. All right.